Coming up this hour, Attorney General orders the payment of a whopping $111.4 million United States dollars to oil conglomerate Trafigura as he dismisses claims of causing financial loss to the state.
After the entry of the arbitral award, which is final, the only obligation left is for the state, which is the judgment debtor, to pay. So it is the failure of the government of Ghana to pay this judgment debt entered in January 2021.
Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress is taking on the Attorney General as the former Power Minister demands an audit and prosecution of persons responsible for what they deem to be an avoidable judgment debt.
What was the Attorney General's Department and the Ministry for Energy? What were they doing? Did they sleep on the job? Or they realized the arbitration settlement was on such strong legal terms that it was not worth challenging?
Also, Chairman of Public Accounts Committee James Klucha-Aveji reveals Clerk to Parliament failed to send cases of prosecution preferred against persons who appear before the committee to the Attorney General since 2017.
I ask, we have made a number of referrals for prosecution. Tell us what action you are doing or you have taken on them. Then he said nothing has been communicated to his office. Yes.
We'll hear from anti-corruption campaigners on the matter shortly. Also ahead, Electoral Commission rejects minorities' claims of profiteering from the voter exhibition exercise, clarifying that it does not receive any money for the USSD voter details verification.
It's for the service charges. It's for the service providers, not for the Electoral Commission. It's 50%. A peso doesn't come to the Electoral Commission. It's for the service charges.
We have details as we take you around the country for day 2 of the voter register exhibition. Well, hell is breaking loose over who should be held responsible for the latest controversy surrounding a whopping $111.4 million default on judgment debt ruling awarded against the Republic of Ghana by a district court in the United States of America for close to 4 years. Oil conglomerate Trafigura, through its Ghana Power Generation Company, GPGC, has been on the heels of the government of Ghana for terminating a power purchase agreement in spite of the award of $134 million as judgment debt issued against Ghana by a tribunal in the United Kingdom. But Trafigura is now scaling up its debt recovery following a successful seizure of a court order from the United States asking the Republic of Ghana to pay a total sum of $111.4 million plus a mandatory interest which has compounded after the court ruling. But how did Ghana get to this stage and what are the damages involved? We'll be speaking to the former Power Minister, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, who is taking on the Attorney General and by extension the government over their inaction.
What was the Attorney General's Department and the Ministry for Energy? What were they doing? Did they sleep on the job? Or they realized that, look, the arbitration settlement was on such strong legal terms that it was not worth challenging. That could also be an option. But I also know for a fact that even after the arbitration settlement, the government of Ghana agreed to engage Trafigura with a settlement plan. And one of the options Ghana government explored at the time was even to pay for the plant and take over the plant. Again, we went to sleep. And this is not the first of such issues we've had, where we go to arbitration, there is a judgment against us, we agree a settlement, and then we renege on it.
Well, the Attorney General, Godfrey Adame, is challenging the position of the former Power Minister as he explains circumstances that may have led to a default in the judgment debt. In brief, Godfrey Adame says he cannot take responsibility for the non-payment of the arrears, claiming that another sector minister is responsible for making the payment. Listen.
After the entry of the arbitral award, which is final, the only obligation left is for the state, which is the judgment debtor, to pay. So it is the failure of the government of Ghana to pay this judgment debt entered in January 2021, which has led to repeated applications in various courts by GPGC. You remember that about some few months ago, our High Commissioner to England, Papa Wiso-Ankoma, was actually on radio, on your network, lamenting the seizure of some assets and all that. And that was settled in such a way that the assets were released from attachment. The government of Ghana subsequently paid some amount of money, but it was not in full settlement of the judgment debt. So the judgment debt is still outstanding. So the explanation for the failure to pay now does not lie with the ascension. It lies with the Ministry of Finance. It is actually a matter between Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Energy. And as far as I'm concerned, any role to be played by the ascension did not happen in my time or tenure as a tenure. So really, the only obligation left is to pay. It's for the Minister of Finance and Minister of Energy to negotiate means of paying the judgment debt. And it's the same thing. It is not a new judgment debt for people to now scream as if, with all respect, I had defaulted on any duty at all. In my tenure as a tenure, there has not been a single judgment debt.
Well, away from that, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Kluche-Aveji, has revealed that all cases of prosecution preferred against persons who appeared before the committee has not been sent to the Attorney General since 2017. The Public Accounts Committee, as part of its mandate, prefers criminal charges against officials who are cited for various infractions in the Auditor General's report, either by the committee's own decision or upon advice from the Auditor General. The committee has, during its sittings, referred a number of these cases to the Attorney General's Office for Prosecution. But speaking to journalists in Parliament on Tuesday, Chairman James Kluche-Aveji said none of these referrals were carried through in the last 7 years.
You see the report that we have, that most of the time we will attach an annex to our report listing all the agencies that are to be prosecuted by the Attorney General. The challenge we had as a committee was that while we do all these things, the Parliament was not communicating this decision to the Attorney General for them to take action. Until one day, when the Attorney General appeared before the committee, I asked, we have made a number of referrals for prosecution. Tell us what action you are doing or you have taken on them. Then he said, nothing has been communicated to his office.
That was 2021.
Yes, after 2021. Nothing has been communicated to his office, so I have to start doing a follow-up for the clerk to Parliament to communicate this decision to the. I've gone through this more than almost a year and a half, or even more, until recently, that when I raised the issue again on the floor of Parliament, before it came to light that finally, the issues have been communicated to the Attorney General to take action.
2023 or 24?
For all the issues that we have raised,
I think the final indication that it has been sent.
This 2024.
This year.
Yeah, this year.
Well, in fact, the chairman sought an update on the matter when Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah appeared before the committee last week, and this was his response.
Honorable Deputy Minister, I want a confirmation if you have received communication from Office of Parliament on all the referrals we have made for prosecution.
Yes.
You have?
We have.
Good. What are you doing about?
We've taken a giant step. So the DPP's office is reviewing it, and we intend having a special team to tackle all those matters.
Okay.
Well, let's do more on this by speaking to Mariada, who is the Executive Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative. I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now, first, does this come to you as a surprise? Well, Aunt Mary, if you can hear me, Mariada, I'm trying to find out from you whether this news that the clerk in Parliament does not forward the referrals from the Public Account Committee to the AG comes to you as a surprise.
Good evening to you and good evening to your cherished viewers. Yes, it is sad, really sad. And I am still wondering why that would not have been done in the past, or even from the 2017 that Honorable Aveji talked about. It is not surprising that sometimes we have inactivity on the part of public officials. Perhaps maybe they were expecting some further directions or something to do their work, but I am not too sure why it took that long to get a Clerk of Parliament to transmit recommendations that were made. But this is a sad reality. If you listen to the audit and the past hearings, you would realize that there are so many instances where public officers have either negligently done some of this. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, when people do this, when people sleep on duty, or when people are not acting, what are the sanctions we are preferring to ensure that there is no future instance of this happening? We all are advocating that we want to see the Public Accounts Committee take up its mandate of ensuring that it makes concrete recommendations and shall say to the Attorney General for either advice or prosecution. And so if they have taken up this mandate and they want to carry it out, anybody in the way who is impeding this process must be called to accountability.
Okay. Now, many thought that the work of the Auditor General, surcharging, prosecution, especially parliamentary oversight, remains one of the surest ways to deal with corruption, especially in the public sector. But here you have it, Parliament stampeding its own work. What does this mean to the fight against corruption?
It means a lot. It means, one, that the apathy would continue to pervade our society, and the perception out there that in many of the instances, the officials themselves are in the way of the fight against corruption.
Okay.
In this instance, it's a reality. Again, we are saying that we need to see more action. And so if we want to see more action, but then we are rather getting the reverse of inactivity, then it fuels perceptions and also experience. This is a clear instance of experience of inactivity.
Okay.
Perhaps we should let the said clerk then explain themselves. Perhaps it should be, I don't know the process they are taking. Perhaps they've already taken some. But this is a clear instance that in our way we see Parliament as an oversight body that should necessarily be making recommendations for sanctioning, particularly at the park. It's not that it remains a visibility platform for some people to come, sit down, and then they ask them questions and they go. To what end? To what end would that be? These tend to fuel the perception that when public officers, they just come and sit down and explain themselves, either that they have already responded to the issues by management responses, or that after they have spoken to Parliament, they get away with whatever it is. That is not good for the fight against corruption. We want to see Parliament's oversight responsibility being clearly and critically performed.
Okay.
And we believe that they have that power to even get the Attorney General, if he doesn't act on this, to come and respond, just like they did in this instance.
I'm grateful to you for joining us and sharing your thoughts. Now, away from this story, the Ghana Institution of Engineering has called on political parties to prioritize key national issues in their manifestos as the country approaches the next general elections. The institution emphasizes the need for comprehensive plans on sustainable energy, the management of public transportation, and the regulation of artisanal and small-scale mining. Now, speaking at the Ghana Institution of Engineering Manifesto Series, President of the institution, Kwabena Bempong, added that the parties must also prioritize empowering district assemblies to enforce zoning regulations and setting up a mineral exploration fund to support sustainable artisanal and small-scale mining. Engineer Bempong is optimistic that this collaborative approach will lead to practical solutions and policies that address the pressing challenges in these sectors, ultimately driving national development.
In this first of the series of discussions, the following thematic areas were selected based on their impact on national development, public interest value, and linkage to the National Infrastructure Plan. Management of the urban space, urban public transportation, artisanal and small-scale mining, and sustainable energy. The event was attended by representatives from the following political parties in alphabetical order: Convention People's Party, Democratic People's Movement for Change, National Democratic Party, and the New Patriotic Party. The event was also attended by representatives from civil society organizations, professional bodies, the media, and the general public. With the active participation of all stakeholders, the meeting reached a consensus and the political parties agreed to consider and include in their manifestos, programs, and plans the following recommendations under the following thematic areas: management of the urban space, resource and improve the capacity of the technical teams in the district assemblies and the district, municipal, metropolitan chief executives to deliver on the technical mandate of the assembly and shall provide the citizenry with the information relating to zoning and other plans of the assembly and shall be accountable to the citizenry at town hall meetings held twice in a year. Enforcement of approved plans, zoning regulations, and sanction violations of the planning regulations with landowners selling land in accordance with the zoning plans.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a break here. We're back with more. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, the Agri Minister, Brian Achampon, says its preliminary assessment reveals massive destruction of farm crops in 8 regions following the onset of dry weather conditions. The prolonged lack of rain has left farms parched and crops withered. Some farmers in the northern region say they are struggling to salvage their dwindling harvests. Take a listen.
Farmers in the northern region are counting their losses already following the dry spell that has hit the area. Farmers who plowed earlier around July have had to uproot their maize waiting to replant or watch their plants wither. The situation has affected especially smallholder farmers.
Right behind me is a maize farm. To my right, it's an okra farm. The plants here are withering. They haven't had rains, therefore they're drying up. This has been the state in the northern region. Several acres of farmlands are drying up because there are no rains.
Jesli Namasi is a smallholder farmer. He spent about 7,000 on his 5-acre farm, but fears there will be nothing to harvest.
It really is pathetic because after the tractor came to plow and I put the condemn, then I saw just a slight rain came and the maize started germinating, and since then we didn't receive any rain anymore.
So, Mr. Gislin is just showing me his okra farm. Each year, he harvests the okra, sells to the public, and feed his family. It doesn't look like he's going to get any harvest this year.
The Muslim community in the northern region last week held prayers to appeal to God for God's intervention. But what do experts think about the occurrence?
The rainy season is almost ending, like you rightly said. So we stand to face a challenge of food shortage or insecurity somewhere next year.
The news team visited the Picona market to assess prices of yam, considering that it's in season, but the prices have doubled.
The drought has actually impacted negatively on the yam business. Last year, we were selling the smaller size at 20 Ghana cedis, and the next to it was 30 Ghana cedis and 50 Ghana cedis. But because of the drought this season, the prices ranges from 50 cedis and above.
Well, the Agri Minister has been touring some of the affected areas and has been assuring that government will soon roll out measures to cushion farmers bearing the brunt of the unfavorable weather condition.
We received weekly reports on the state of the dry spell in the northern regions. Before the farming season began, the Meteorological Agency informed us of the onset of the dry spell, but we didn't anticipate it would last this long or impact crop production to this extent. In Bono East, Bono, Oti, and the 5 northern regions, farmers' crops have been destroyed. As a ministry, we must intervene and assist the farmers who lost their crops due to the dry spell.
Head of Research and Applied Meteorology at Ghana Meteorological Agency, Francisca Mate, speaks on climate change, and she joins me via Zoom now. Grateful to you for joining. Now, what interventions would be sufficient to cushion the farmers impacted by the dry spell?
Good evening to our listeners. So, we have the forecast for the minor season is out, and that is what will help the farmers now. Okay. But suffice to say, we're expecting a little bit more dry spell around the Kintampo area. Okay. So Kintampo, Wenchi, Prangte, Ketekrachi area, we're expecting some more dry spell. But apart from apart from that, for the minor season, the rest of the country would have shorter dry spell. Okay. But those that I've mentioned within the transition zone, we're expecting a little more long dry spell. Okay. Then with the rainfall, we're expecting towards the northern fringes of the country, we're expecting the rainfall to pick up. And now we are learning there are flood situation there. So that will help. Below Wale Wale, Tamale, Yendi, Damongo, Bole, we're expecting normal rains. And then again, within the forest zone, we are expecting normal to above rainfall. Okay. So that is what we have for the minor season.
Do we know exactly what is causing this dry spell?
Okay, so we realized that with the forecast, when the system is coming from our source region, we realize that they divert after Nigeria towards the north. So this dry spell we are having it in the northern part of Nigeria, Togo, Benin, and Ghana. So instead of the system coming straight into Nigeria, hitting Togo, Benin, and Ghana, it diverts towards the north of Nigeria. The high pressure over the Atlantic Ocean, especially St. Helena, down south, is intensifying. And the pressures are created over the northern Africa. So it's making our ITB go way into the Sahelian region. Okay. And so the rainfall are in the Sahelian region instead of our north. Okay. That is what's causing the system.
So if farmers are watching us in these regions, are they going to have rains tomorrow or this weekend?
Well, as I said, within the Sahel, Kintampo and its environs, it's going to stretch a little again. But within the north, we expect that the rains will continue. So within the minor season, we're expecting shorter dry spell for the forest zone and part of the north. But with the transition, the Kintampo, Keta, Wenchi, and all those things, it will linger on a little.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful to you for sharing your thought here with us, Francisca Martin, that speaks on climate change, and she is with the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Away from that, environmentalists are intensifying pressure on the government to begin work on the Keta coastlines to prevent the city's total collapse. They warn that the government's continued delay in starting sea defense projects in the Keta municipality could result in the complete destruction of the area within a few years. In 2022, the government secured approximately $150 million to protect 3 coastal communities, including Keta. However, a year later, environmentalists lament no visible progress. In the second part of today's climate series, Vanishing Shores of Keta, Carlos Caloni explores how rising sea levels are affecting tourism, revenue, and even the dead in the Keta municipality.
Apart from negative impact on housing and livelihood, the rising levels of the sea is negatively impacting on tourism here in Keta. The owner of this facility tells me how devastating the recent tidal waves have been on his facility.
The cost is very tremendous. First, we are losing clients. So no income is coming. It's a loss. I have to find a way of protecting my property. As I stand now, I spent close to $1 million cedis to get this facility standing here.
James Akoli is a former assemblyman and a tour guide of this fort.
The state of the fort now is due to the rising sea level at that time. In 1980, the sea came and destroyed part of the fort. 3/4 of the fort has been washed into the sea.
At the Keta Municipal Assembly, officials lament climate change's devastating impact on revenue generation. Ransford Owusu is the Assembly's finance officer.
Truly, this tidal wave things normally, when it do happen, affects the business premises of the various businesses along the coast, and it does affect our property rate collection and then the collection of business operating permits from the various businesses that are along the coast. Sometimes when they leave their canoes and nets at the shore, before they will come back the next day, it has been taken away by the tidal waves. And that also affects their livelihood. And then it also affects the local economy.
In 2022, the World Bank approved a $246 million project to strengthen coastal resilience in West African countries, including the Gambia, Ghana, and the Guinea-Bissau.
Government is delaying. I don't know the reason why. I'm sure it's the usual bureaucracy, but I can use this medium to appeal to government that, there's no time to waste. If there is anything that can be done to help ameliorate the challenges that our people are facing along the coast, it is this one. We have not been able to access the funding for the previous one that was done in Benin and Abidjan because of some of these bureaucracies.
Indeed, apart from the devastating impact of the rising levels of the sea on lives and property, the dead are equally paying a huge price. As you can see, Solomon Kwashi, who died somewhere in 2021, his tomb is sinking. So apart from the living, the dead are equally paying a high price of the climate change impact here in the Keta municipality of the Volta region. My name is Carlos Caloni for Joy News.
Oh, quite a sad narrative there. Well, away from that, the Electoral Commission is dismissing allegations that is profiting from the ongoing voter exhibition exercise. The Commission announced a USSD code via which voters can verify their registration details at a fee of 50 pesos. But the minority claimed the charge was illegal, insisting the EC should stop the charges. But responding to these concerns, Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Clerk, who explained the charge is not going to the Commission and the state is not funding that part of the exercise.
For the service charges, it's for the service providers, not for the Electoral Commission. It's 50%. A peso doesn't come to the Electoral Commission. It's for the service charges. And in 2016, it was the same. 2020 is the same, and 2024 is the same. If we were to be coming to the Electoral Commission, then that is our money that we should account for. But for the service charges, so if you use MTN, the money goes to MTN. If you use TRSL, it goes to a TRSL.
And that has not been catered for in the budget that was approved for electoral process.
If we're talking budget, the money is coming to Electoral Commission.
No, but this is part of your electoral activities. This is a way of verifying.
Ours is that go to the polling station to go and check on your name.
Okay.
Then the providers is okay. We can also make this service available to people who cannot go. But I'm saying that not a damn come to the Electoral Commission. So when you check, the 50 first you pay, it goes to the service provider. If you are using your phone calls and you pay.
Yes.
That is really the same thing.
The Electoral Commission has confirmed it has engaged some consultants to help in the delivery of the mandate, but says it engaged these consultants through due process and with approval of the PPA. This is contrary to the claims of the NDC National Chairman, Johnson Asiedu Keta, that the consultants were hired without PPA approval. Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Clerk again.
When we have administrative work. If I'm being employed, when I was employed, the political parties were not informed. I was just interviewed, my appointment letter was given, and I signed. That is administrative issue. If the commission thinks that for this work we need maybe a consultant to support that, we work with the PPA, and all the processes are done, then the person is recruited. We don't inform the political party. It has never happened before.
So you have contractors or consultants,
yes.
And you inform the PPA.
You cannot
and the processes
you cannot employ them without going to the procurement processes. So if anybody has any issue with it, I think they can contact the procurement PPA and see whether we have done the wrong thing.
Are you saying the NDC in that particular regard has no case because they were not supposed to be informed in the first place?
Not at all. When we are doing administrative issues, we don't inform them. No.
And he says that arrests have been made,
yes.
But they do not know. In fact, we do not know for sure. Where are the devices?
The case is at the courts.
Yes.
The laptop has been stolen, so we have not gotten it.
But you've apprehended the culprit.
Suspects.
Exactly.
The security services investigated it, and they handed the case to the court, and they were remanded. They have been going to court. I don't know the actual state of this case now, but the case is at the court.
Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission says up to 19 persons have paid nomination forms to contest as independent presidential candidates in the 2024 elections.
Last time I checked, I think we had 19 people who have picked it was one thing picking the form, one thing filing. But the independent presidential candidate for that and there were about 19.
19 independent presidential candidates.
Well, who have picked the form. But when picking the form, you don't pay anything.
Yeah. If when you are going to file, that is when you pay something.
Yes. So some people pick, but they will not file.
Should we be capping the number of people who can pick up forms and contest as independent candidates?
Democracy is expensive. Democracy gives the right to everybody once the person qualifies. The Constitution says the person should be at least 40 years. He should be a taxpayer. Should be not be holding any allegiance to having allegiance in any country, blah, blah, blah. So once the person qualifies.
Well, let's take you to Kumasi now, where second day of the voter exhibition exercise continues to record dwindling turnout at various polling centers in the Ashanti region. Some potential voters who are yet to confirm their details cite their reluctance to political apathy. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has more from the Ashanti region.
Right, so it's the second day of the voter exhibition exercise that is happening across the country and even in the Ashanti region. And I'm currently here at the Menchia South constituency to find out how the situation is. Unfortunately, yesterday there was a slow start, and then we are hoping that as the days go by, the numbers increase. That's according to the Electoral Commission. But I'll quickly interact with this EC official here to find out from here what so far far she's been able to record since this exercise actually began. Good morning. Now, you've been here. Yesterday was the first day. I want to understand, how was it for you yesterday?
Yesterday, it was normal. People were not coming back. It's cool.
Yesterday, people weren't coming. So the entire day, how many numbers do you get?
7.
7 out of
288.
288. So out of this 7, how many are females and then how many are males?
Male 6, female 1.
Okay. So, and then the age brackets, do you have any idea?
The age, that from 22 to, I think, 20, it starts from 30 to the 60 column. Okay. Those are coming.
So meaning the younger ones are not coming?
No.
What check you din Nana?
Minyan check it.
I didn't hear.
Enye bibi about some starting Monday, every Friday. But
I will go and check before it ends, but I don't know why they have to make us pay for checking our details online.
I did the registration at Accra, but seriously right now I'm at Kumasi, I'm working here, and I don't have a transportation. So if someone is willing to help me with transportation, I think I can go and check it.
I've gone to check my details, but I'm not sure I'll be voting.
December
oh, some person in case last meeting person betruna mama ba check here.
So the numbers, well, on the second day has been encouraging quite a bit, but the EC officials are hoping that a majority of the numbers can come around and check their details in the voter album. From here are the Menchia South constituency in the Ashanti region. My name is Emmanuel Bransquick.
Well, rising death associated with non-communicable diseases is a growing concern for health professionals. In Ghana, the country currently has a 65% record of deaths associated with diabetes, stroke, heart, cancer and kidney diseases, a rise from the 43% reported by the World Health Organization in 2022. A family physician has warned of escalating non-communicable diseases due to poor lifestyle, including alcohol abuse and smoking. There's more in the following report.
Non-communicable diseases kill an estimated 86,000 persons in Ghana every year. The World Health Organization has labeled this surge as an emergency, warning the situation is exacerbated by insufficient investment in health infrastructure and a lack of conscious lifestyle. Family physician specialist Dr. Abraham Amponsa says many Ghanaians lack control to practice moderation, contributing to the increasing prevalence of lifestyle-related diseases.
We used to see a lot of these things in the advanced countries, but these days, in this part of the world, in developing countries, in low and middle income countries, we are seeing a lot of this non-communicable diseases. And hypertension and diabetes are key risk factors responsible for these non-communicable diseases, and they are on the rise, okay, in this part of our world. In addition to that, we have what we call infectious diseases, malaria, HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and so on. And that's what we mean by having a double burden of disease. And these are smoking, alcohol misuse, inappropriate diet, and lack of exercise. So basically, of course, alcohol misuse, I believe many people don't know what it means to drink in moderation. And then our diets are also looking like the diets of the advanced countries. And these days we live a lot of sedentary lifestyle. So I think that is why we see a lot of this lifestyle diseases in this part of the world.
Dr. Abraham Amponsa was speaking at the inauguration of an MMA lab in Kumasi. He encouraged the public to prioritize healthy lifestyles.
The citizens must take their lives into their own hands, okay? We cannot depend on the government or health. In addition, you do a medical checkup. Don't wait till you fall sick. Go to the hospital. You want to get your sugar checked, your blood pressure checked, your cholesterol checked. You want to know your weight, and then prostate screening for the early male, cervical cancer screening, breast cancer screening, and so on. So you can put in measures, personal measures to make sure that you prevent disease and to stay healthy.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Now, 2023 awardee of the Joy News Impact Makers, Ellen White Opokun, has donated a wheelchair to a bedridden woman as part of a support to the needy in the Bono East region. Ellen, who was informed about the woman's plight, gathered resources within a week to provide a means of movement for the woman. Anna Sabet has more in this report.
She is in her late 70s. For 9 months or maybe longer, she lost her ability to stand or walk. It all began one sad evening when, after performing ablution and ready to perform the Maghrib prayers, Salamatu Sule felt a sharp pain and fell off eventually.
I used to go out in recent past. I was able to walk until one day I was done preparing food. I was about to have the evening prayer, and after performing ablution, I noticed I can't even stand on my feet. And when I was about sitting down, I fell off, and that was it.
Since then, she has to be helped in and out of her room each time she wants to move out.
I was unable to step out until I'm carried by my children. Even when I want to take my bath, they have to do same or clean my body if they are unable to lift me. It is worrying because even when I used to go out, life has been difficult. How about now that I can't do anything?
Salamatu will today heave a sigh of relief after a 2023 Joy News Impact Makers awardee, Ellen White Opoku, managed to purchase a wheelchair for her after hearing her plight from a friend just a week ago.
A week today, last Friday, I received a call from one Auntie Millicent telling me about our mom here. Seriously, I didn't know her, but after telling me what happened and how come she's not able to walk, I told Auntie Millie, I'll do all I can to make sure we get her a wheelchair.
Ellen, through the Ellen White Sustainable Foundation, is asking the general public to come to the aid of Salamatu to enable her survive in these hard economic times.
We pray that we get people who come in to support her. You know, she needs a lot of support. So, you know, the Keta is when she's the only one supporting them. And looking at her condition, it's not easy.
For now, Salamatu Sule is a happy woman. At least, she now has a wheelchair to enable her move from one end to the other. And as the saying goes, half a loaf, they say, is better than none. Anna Sabit, Joy News.
All right, so let's do showbiz now, and Becky Bex is here with all the gist you need for tonight. Hi, Becky, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Brace. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Well, let's get into show business now, because CEO of Jeanette Services and creator of Women in Worship events, Georgina Emanuela Nate, has expressed her concern about the inadequate sponsorship for Christian events. During the press launch of the 2024 edition of the Women in Worship, she emphasized the significant challenge of securing venues for events that also needs to be addressed.
The challenges with gospel event is sponsorship. What the secular gets with the Christian events, we don't get. I am fortunate to own a logistic firm, an event firm that owns all the logistics. So it means that I will definitely cut costs. But ask me, am I cutting costs? No. Venue is something that is huge hitting us. We don't even get venues to do events, you understand? And sponsorships are not coming. Sometimes you see I put people on their own friendships and product. They are not cash. You understand? So sponsorship is one of the problems. So this year we are back, better, bold, and bigger experience. The lineup is very sweet for me, I can say, as an event organizer and someone who has been mandated by God to do an event to honor him and to give him my thanks, my praise, and everything. We have Adeyi coming all the way from Nigeria. We have Mesinchiu, who has been a sister of women in worship all this while. We also have our own Dinah Hamilton. This is the doing of the Lord. Not forgetting our gospel diva, Empress Gifty, who is also on part of the lineup this year. As you can tell, the dispensation we're in, you could hear that there's some song going around, Defe Defe, and everybody is just enthused with what that song is doing. We decided to go for the female version of them that will feature the likes of Efe Grace, will feature JOA, Rafia, and then Echan Music to do that. And in doing this, we have decided to theme this year's event as the Flight Edition.
Edition, we cannot wait. But let's move away from that and talk about film director Peter Sedufia. He is gearing up to release his latest movie, One Night Guest. The film, set to hit screens on December 25, 2024, promises to be a major highlight of the holiday season, blending Nigerian and Ghanaian cinematic excellence. At a recent news conference, the star-studded cast, which includes some of Nollywood's finest like Chidi Mokemi, Iniedo, Lasisi Elenu, Akanani, and Wari Pikin, came together to share their enthusiasm for the project.
I decided to make sure this path I'm taking on movies is very deliberate, and I'm taking on only projects I feel have strong prospects, projects that I can be certain for a fact that has the ability to make the kind of mark statements that I would love to see. And when Chris called me, I said, that's the thing. When he did call, I really said that is the film, because over the years I've known him, he's a good friend of mine, and I've seen his work. His work has been extraordinary, very respectable work. And he said, oh, he's working with somebody from Ghana. I said, it will be done. I'm not sending Papa.
We cannot wait for this particular movie. Sad note, we end show.